when he and I got together, we had that conversation about labels, because I felt ready to be called boyfriend and girlfriend, and he goes, being in my 40s, I feel like I'm a little old to be called somebody's boyfriend, but if you call me your man friend, it sounds like I'm not allowed in your playground. I was like, all right, well, what are you gonna call me? And he goes, I'll just be like, this is my lady. And I was like, well, we're not at a Renaissance fair. So no. Also, I can't use the equivalent of that. I can't be like, Mom, Dad, I'd like you to meet my lord. And he's also a comedian. My ex-husband was actually a comedian, too. I can't stop shitting where I eat. My love life is a Chipotle. Just keep the eating and shitting all under one roof. It's very convenient, very farm to table, you know. They're right there. And I wasn't much of a jealous girlfriend in my 20s, but then some switch flipped in my 30s. And now when I see somebody hit on the person I'm with, I just feel myself anamorph into the cast of Jersey Shore. I am ready to brawl. And he does get hit on. When he walks on stage, women whistle at him. And at comedy clubs, there's usually a security guard in the back to kick people out in case they heckle. So at his shows, I've just started to stand next to the security guard.
I like a very specific kind of restaurant. I'm a 39-year-old elder millennial from Portland, Oregon. I only like restaurants that proudly advertise themselves as being farm to table. Oh, yeah. Which is a very silly thing for a restaurant to say. Because that's where they grow food. And that's what you eat it off of. At every restaurant. Arby's is a farm-to-table restaurant. It's a gross farm. And the table is bolted to the wall. But it's farm-to-table all the same. When I say farm-to-table, I mean something very specific, okay? I mean a farm that is owned by a nice lesbian couple who left finance and bought a goat. And when I say table, I mean like a door that used to be on a very old church that they've taken down and kind of fashioned into a banquet-style seating arrangement where you sit around it with 6 other couples who you don't know, you didn't come with them. And you all talk about the same 3 A24 movies all night. Yeah. When I go to a restaurant, I want the drinks and the light bulbs to be in mason jars. Do you understand me? I like restaurants that have an ampersand in the middle of their name. They cannot spell out the word and. It has to be a cutesy little ampersand, right? It has to be like Turkey and the Wolf. Or the Girl and the Goat. I would eat at Indiana Jones in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Every time I go to a restaurant I like, the server comes over and they say the exact same thing. They say, have you dined with us before? Because we do things a little bit different. Never once has it been different. Never once has the server been, have you dined with us before? Because we do things a little bit different. Now take your shirt off and get in the kitchen. You're making me dinner. Never. I've never ordered the onion ring tower and it comes out on a man's erect penis, right? Like, and he stands there while you eat them, and if he goes soft before you finish, they fall on the floor. That's on you. Never. I've never ordered the charcuterie board and it comes out, and so does Marina Abramovich. You know, she like sits across from you. It makes hard emotional eye contact the entire time you're eating.
As a New Yorker, I travel a lot more now, and like the more I travel, the more I'm starting to see New York a little differently, and I don't like it. You know what I mean? Like, You travel outside of New York, you start to pick up on things. Like that first day back is rough. I get back, I get off my flight, I look around, I'm like, it is kind of nasty. I don't want to feel that way about my city, man. But I go to other places and I'm like, there's no trash around your trees. Where do you guys keep your trash? In bins? That's disgusting. I don't touch my trash.
I don't know if any of you have ever changed a boy's diaper or have seen an elephant bathe itself in a river. Same principle. And that's the difference between having kids and not having kids. It's like, oh, I have pee in my hair. And not, call 911! It's pee! It's pee! So I turn around to get a napkin. My back is turned for about 1/8 of a second. I've done this before, you know? So I turn around, and by the time I turn back, he is grabbing his junk! And I don't mean like pocket pool waiting for your taxi or lift. You know, like Hercules trying to tear the skin off a serpent. I literally went involuntarily. Did a full curly. Honey, the baby's trying to pull his cock off. I don't know how you want me to play this. And I had to say something because I didn't want her to come in and find me fighting with her son over his penis. Hey, hey! I can explain. He wanted to touch it. It's a good thing I was here.
I was so jealous of the doctor. I should have been a doctor. Have you ever heard anybody say that to you before? People say stupid shit like that. I'm happy you haven't heard it, because some people will see like a doctor in a nice car, they go, I should have been a doctor. Like it's a weekend extension course. What's your name, Doc? What's your name? Melanie. I knew I couldn't be a doctor from the 5th grade. Yeah, when they brought that frog out. Remember the frog? Guys, remember the frog? In the 5th grade, they brought out a dead frog. Melanie, he was pinned to a tray with his arms out, just like Jesus. He's just... the most disgusting shit I've ever seen. And they doused him in formaldehyde. They put him in front of me. I raised my hand. I go, teacher, what do you want me to do with the frog? She goes, cut it open. I go, fuck that. You cut it open. That's the day I knew I was not going to be a doctor. That's the day I became a comedian. I swear to God. I went to the other side of the room. I just started telling jokes. Right away, I go over. I go, knock, knock. They go, who's there? I go, not the frog. He's dead. He's dead in formaldehyde.
I'm a big-time celebrity now. It's pretty exciting. That's not the laughy part. There's different levels of big-time celebrity. This is the level that I'm at. I was at the airport in Colorado, America. And this stranger rushed up to me and she was like, oh my God, are you Taylor the comedian? You're my favorite comedian. What are you doing here in Denver? And I was like, oh, thank you so much. I'm so flattered. I'm performing at the comedy club tonight. You should come out to the show. And then she was like, tonight, I wish I could go. It's my mom's birthday. Why was she born today? But listen, you're my favorite comedian. Next time you're in town, I'm gonna be at your show. I'm gonna bring all my friends. It's gonna be great. Take care. And then I was like, wait. Great news. I also have a show tomorrow. And then she's like, tomorrow? I got my kids tomorrow. You know, I love them. Sometimes I wish I never had them. You know what I mean? She's like, but listen, you're my favorite comedian of all time. Next time you're in town, I'm gonna bring all my friends. We're gonna sell out all the shows. They're gonna add extra shows. It's gonna be so sold out. And then she walked away much quicker, so I had to run after her quick. I was like, wait. And I was like, I also have a show on Sunday. And then she was like, stop following me. Security.
Something I've learned is that a lot of people don't realize that comedians know how to not be comedians off stage. Like, some people just think we're always set to clown mode or something. Because a few years ago, my mom got sick and she was in the hospital for part of the time. And 3 weeks in, her doctor turns to me and goes, so I heard you're a comedian. And I was like, yeah, I am. He goes, oh, just surprises me because I don't really get a funny vibe from you. And I was like, well, my mom's still in the hospital after 3 weeks, so I'm not really getting a great doctor vibe. I can be petty off the clock too, bitch. I will do it for free. Also, what does a funny vibe look like to this guy? We're in a hospital. You think I'm gonna walk through the waiting room honking boobs like, hee 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 hee? Like, people are bleeding out. You gotta clock out sometimes. But here's the thing. When my mom was in the hospital, she ended up getting diagnosed with dementia, which has, of course, been the most heartbreaking thing to go through. But she is so smart and so funny that even with dementia, she's still pretty crafty, like still tries to prank people. So she and my brother were talking. He thought it was going well. And then all of a sudden, she just starts shouting, nurse! Nurse! And my brother's like, oh my God, Mom, I'm right here. What do you need? The nurses come running in. They're like, Kathy, oh my God, what's going on? And my mom just goes, look how handsome my son is. I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind? You cannot be the mom who cried hot son. You're gonna get kicked out of the home. Because now I feel like next time she actually needs help, the nurse is just gonna pop her head around from 50 feet away and be like, oh, let me guess, Kathy, is your daughter funny? Is that what you're screaming at us for? It'd be so great if she was like, she's okay. Not really get a funny vibe from her. Just want some apple juice. I have to tell you guys something that just happened. My cousin and I visited my mom, and we thought that my mom had fallen asleep. So my cousin decided to tell me that she just took her 2 high school nieces out to dinner, and her nieces are obsessed with mukbang videos. You guys know what mukbang videos are? Okay, if you don't know, it's this big trend on YouTube. People order massive quantities of food, and they eat them on camera. So her nieces love these mukbang videos, and they're at dinner, and one of her nieces cleans her plate so fast. And my cousin looks at her and goes, wow, Bailey, you should do your own bukkake videos. And her niece went white in the face, which is very funny if you know what bukkake is. Remember that .12 resting blood alcohol? Such a delayed reaction. Oh, fuck. Yeah. I can also tell that some of you do not know what bukkake is. And honestly, you're better people for it. You are more pure of heart. Okay. A Midwest mom just went... If you want to find out what it is, give it a Google later. Don't do it at work, you'll get fired. It is a finishing move in the world of porn. And I'm like dying laughing at this story. And then all of a sudden, my mom goes, I've done bukkake once. And my cousin and I were like, no, 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 no. Do not say that word in the home. I promise it is not whatever you think it is. It's not some fitness class you took at the YMCA. I'm sure my mom was just sitting there listening like, oh, well, Zumba was full that one day, so I think I popped over to Bukkake. It's like, no, you did not. No, you did not. Nope, you never did that. And here's the thing, I always take really good care of my mom, but I took extra good care of her that day because I was like, those cannot be your last words. Don't you dare. And this is strange, but my entire family and I, including my mom, are actually world champion foosball players. Yeah, thank you. And my mom is in the Foosball Hall of Fame. Yeah. But every time my mom gets a new nurse, the nurse will always ask her about her life. And my mom always goes, well, I'm in the Foosball Hall of Fame. And every nurse goes, sure you are. And I'm always standing there like, oh, yeah, no, I know that sounds made up, but I swear it's real. And the nurse is like, hey, you don't have to. And I'm like, lady, I swear to God, I can show you her trophies, I can show you a video of her playing. And that's when the nurse starts to look at the other nurses like, oh, does the daughter have dementia too? It's like a T-Mobile family plan of dementia. It's like too weird to believe. And my mom growing up was also somebody you did not want to cross. My parents got divorced in the 90s, back when there were home phone answering machines. And before the divorce, our answering machine message was my dad saying, you've reached the Cooks, please leave us a message. And then after the divorce, my mom had changed it to her just blasting Alanis Morissette's You Oughta Know. So every time my dad would call, my mom would let it go to the machine so that if he wanted to leave a message for her, every time he first had to sit through the lyrics, and I'm here to remind you of the mess you left when you went away. I mean, that's a bad bitch move right there. That takes balls. Because it's not like that was just the message for when my dad called. That was the message for literally anybody who called our house. So after a while, we started to get messages from people like, hey, this is Dave from Blockbuster. And I'm here to remind you. Your Space Jam VHS is overdue. Really sorry about whatever you're going through. And long before my mom had dementia, she had retired from teaching, and she had taken on some interesting retirement hobbies. She had started to screenshot the selfies I would post on Instagram, and then she would print them out and go to Kohl's and buy those 30 photo collage frames and frame my selfies. But I didn't know she was doing this until I visited home one day and I just walked into a museum. Of my narcissism. And my mom crept up behind me. She was like, do you love it? What is this, a haunted house? This is fucking horrifying. I'll never take a selfie again. This is like an intervention. But here's the thing. Nobody had taught my mom how to crop a screenshot. So all of these printed, framed photos show her phone battery percentage. If somebody texted her as she took the screenshot, it's up there. There's a framed photo somewhere of my face with a text from my ex to my mom like, "Your daughter just shit in a box."
Before I go, I need to tell you a story about the most embarrassing moment of my life. I was on tour with my podcast, which is a sentence I sometimes think about saying to someone who fought in World War II. And while I was on tour with my podcast, we learned that you get to have a rider. And if anyone here doesn't know, a rider is a list of items that you tell the venue that they will put in your dressing room backstage. And everything that my friends and I knew about riders, we had learned from the book The Dirt about Motley Crue. And if anyone here is too young to know about Motley Crue, they made a movie about Motley Crue, and they had to make Machine Gun Kelly look worse to play one of them. And so we filled that rider with every booze we could think of. It was like whiskey, vodka, tequila, beer, deli platter, beer, rum. And we drank that booze before every show like it was rude not to, right? We got hammered everywhere. And this particular evening, we were in Washington, D.C. And my friend who I do the podcast with had a couple of friends who lived in Washington, D.C. They were two young ladies. And before I go any further, I need to reiterate, I was not married at this time. I didn't even know my wife. But they were two young ladies, and they came to the show, and they were hanging out with us. They worked at a museum. They were getting their doctorates in history. They were amazing. And we were sitting in the green room, and I was talking to one of them, and we were really hitting it off. It was great. I was like, oh, man, this is so nice. You know, you're out on the road. You never know who you're going to meet. And I feel like I'm really connecting with this person. This is wonderful, you know? And she was so smart. She was like quoting all these facts about history, like the Bronze Age started in Mesopotamia in the year 3000, right? And I'm not smart, but I can hang in there. I'm like Jeopardy smart, right? So I was like, interesting. Montpelier is the capital of Vermont. And go on. And we were really connecting. It was very exciting, and it was just nice. And then we went and did the show, and we knocked it out of the park, right? We had a great show. And then those girls, they met us backstage afterwards, and they were like, let's hit the town. And we were like, let's hit the town. So we hit the town, and we went from bar to bar to bar to chicken restaurant that sold alcohol. And at that chicken restaurant that sold alcohol, these two women informed us that they had had a lovely evening, but they were going to head home. And to be honest, I was a little disappointed, right? Because I was like, oh man, where was this going to go? But at the same time, if somebody doesn't want to have sex with me, nobody understands more than I do. In fact, anytime someone does want to have sex with me, I would describe myself as pleasantly surprised, all right? It's the same feeling as when I find someone else's dessert in my Postmates bag, where I'm like, oh, okay. I'm not gonna send it back. So they went home, but my friends and I didn't. We kept hitting the town. And then our evening ended because we went to a bar and ordered 15 Jaeger bombs, and I got us kicked out before we could drink them because I frisbeed a pizza box at a moving car. And at that point, we probably should have gone back to our hotel, but we needed to eat because I had frisbeed our pizza box in a moving car. So instead, we went to a 24-hour Chinese food restaurant. You know the kind. Like they don't exist during the day, right? Like, it's like a Narnia that you can only summon by making decisions that would upset your doctor. It's the kind of restaurant, and I mean this as a compliment, they make food designed to be barfed up 2 hours later. Like the Navy SEALs of food, it goes in, does the job, and then gets out. Like they sell orange chicken, tacos, and socks, and like they're all kind of good. They're fine. So we went there, we got our food, we went back to the hotel. We ate it, we went to sleep. And woke up the next morning, 11. And I realized that my phone had died the night before. So we went down to breakfast, and I plugged my phone in while we were at breakfast, and my phone turned on. And when it turned on, I saw that I'd missed a text message from the museum woman from the night before. And I'm going to read it to you right now. It says, "Hey, Ian, it was so great meeting you last night. It was really wonderful getting to know you. I don't know what you're doing right now, but I bet it's something smart like reading a book. You seem like the kind of person who likes to read books." I do seem like that. Which is too bad because I wish we were having sex right now. In fact, I can't think of anyone I'd rather be having sex with. I hope I get to see you again soon. Bye. And I read that message to myself, and then I immediately read it to all of my friends at breakfast. And we started celebrating like we won the Stanley Cup. We ordered champagne, we were calling each other sir, it was amazing. And then I realized she had sent that at midnight the night before. It was now noon. She'd been left unread on a sext for 12 hours. And I was like, oh no, I can't let that stand. So I immediately texted her back. I said, hey, casual. It was so great meeting you last night. I would love to have sex with you too. You're so smart and cool. I bet you'd be quoting facts about Mesopotamia the whole time we were having sex. And that would be rad. Hope I see you again soon. Send. Not my smoothest effort. But you know, we were leaving town. I just wanted her to know that like I'd had a great time. I wanted her to know that it was okay. We both had a great time. And then a couple more hours went by and no reply. And I started wondering, I'm like, oh man, this poor girl. She probably isn't used to sending texts like that. She's probably sitting there so embarrassed, right? She doesn't usually drink like that, let alone send messages like that. I better send her another text to let her know it's okay. So I sent her this message. Hey, I hope you don't feel weird. I know sometimes we do silly things when we drink, but I was totally feeling the same way last night. Smiley face, send. The gentleman smiley face, not the emoji, by the way, colon, parentheses. And a couple more hours go by and still there is no reply. And then I started thinking, what's going on here? Honestly, my feelings were kind of hurt, right? It's like we were really hitting it off last night. Now nothing? Like, what's going on? I should remind her about how much fun I am to hang out with. How much she was laughing, make a joke. So I sent her a third text message. And it said, oh, ha, I get it. I made you wait 12 hours for a reply. Now you're making me wait 12 hours for a reply. Honestly, I respect it. Winky face, send. And this time I did not have to wait long for a reply. My phone lit up almost immediately with a text message from the museum woman from the night before. And it said, "Hey, Ian, you sent yourself that text from my phone last night as a joke." You said it would be the funniest way for us to exchange numbers. And I kept telling you you were too drunk to remember. But all you said was, no, I'll remember. Just to be clear, I'm not interested in you romantically or otherwise. What does or otherwise mean? You don't want to open a bakery? What are we talking about here? And I knew in that moment I stood at a crossroads. Either I could tell no one that story for the rest of my life and take it with me to my cold, cold grave, or I could tell everyone that story, everyone I meet for the rest of my life. And that is the path I have chosen. I've been Ian Karmel. Thank you so much.
As a New Yorker, like I've traveled to places. You ever travel to some place and everything closes at 9 o'clock? I was at a hotel and I got there at like 11 o'clock at night and I said, "Hey, what's open to eat?" And they were like, "Everything closes at 9 o'clock." And I was like, "Vampires, right?" That could be the only logical explanation as to why there is not one pizza joint that is open right now. And here's the thing, as a New Yorker, I travel a lot more now, and like the more I travel, the more I'm starting to see New York a little differently, and I don't like it. You know what I mean? Like, you travel outside of New York, you start to pick up on things. Like that first day back is rough. I get back, I get off my flight, I look around, I'm like, it is kind of nasty. I don't want to feel that way about my city, man. But I go to other places and I'm like, there's no trash around your trees. Where do you guys keep your trash? In bins? That's disgusting. I don't touch my trash. And it's happening more often now because I'm traveling more, and which is so expensive, by the way. Like if you're buying flights, it's ridiculous. I'm going to Wisconsin, $700. That's what I said, $50 at the most. You know what I'm saying? Like, you should pay me to get on that flight. Like, why? What cheese enthusiast is ruining this for the rest of us? I thought it was ridiculous. I checked every airline, because that's what you do, right? I was like, I must be hallucinating. This can't, even Spirit, I ain't got no shame. Like, all of them. If you look at Spirit Airlines, you are in a financial situation, right? That I feel like anybody can relate to, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just an airline, it defines an economic era of our lives and should be respected as such. And it's always a bad choice. Look, Spirit is always a bad, I'll hit you with the double negative. It's never not a bad choice. You know it is. You know it's a bad choice, because you see the price right there, and you still gotta talk yourself into that flight. Because I saw the price, I was like, whoop! $27, that's less than I thought. I started giving myself reasons. I was like, come on now, nobody's hijacking a Spirit plane. Like, you're safe. Even if someone did, every passenger on that flight would be like, you thought you was the only one that bought a gun? Like, you really thought? It's a Spirit Airlines, sir. Nuck if you buck, Hans Gruber. It doesn't matter where I go. As soon as people find out that I'm a New Yorker, they feel compelled to tell me how they feel about New York. Right? Like, I don't ask. But they always tell me, and it's usually some cliche thing, you know, they'll be like, New Yorkers are mean. And here's the thing, we're not mean, we're aggressively kind. Right? We're very misunderstood. I always tell people, get lost in New York City, the first person that will help you is a New Yorker. Guaranteed. Guaranteed, because we can't stand lost-looking people. Like, we hate your lost-looking faces. I'm not even gonna lie to you. We see them at the, like, right at the subway map, just like, Is it uptown? Is it downtown? What's midtown? Literally the middle. I just picture them like panicked at the map, and then like out of the darkness, they hear a voice. Where you trying to go? That is one word in New York City. Where you trying to go? No breaks. You've been looking at the map for 5 minutes. Where you trying to go? I'm trying to help you get out of my way. You've been in my way 5 minutes. Look at this map. Such a wild thing, man. And people in New York, like, here's the thing about New York City. Like, if you have a bad time in New York City, I feel like that's because you didn't know the rules before you got here. You gotta know the rules before you get here, man. Every city has rules, right? And one of the cardinal rules of New York City, mind your business. It should say that when you land in New York. Welcome to New York, mind your business. Right? That's what forget about it means. It means forget what you just saw. Because what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but what happens in New York never happened. Why are you snitching? Like, why would you say anything? I had to teach my husband this lesson. My husband is a white boy from the Midwest. Thank you so much. I'm a Puerto Rican girl from the South Bronx, man. Like, hey. I know we got Puerto Ricans here. Hey. Yeah. What up, probably my cousins? I'm just saying, let's do a 23andMe later and get weird. That's the thing, I'm not gonna lie to you. As a Puerto Rican girl from the South Bronx, I didn't think I could bag a white boy from the Midwest. I thought I was too aggressive. Because I don't know how to soft flirt. You know what I mean? Like, you know how some girls can like really cute flirt? Not me. I'm New York aggressive with it. I'd be like, yo, I like you, son. You trying to do this? Hey, yo, you trying to smash? Turns out he liked it. He was like, I'm scared, I'm gonna follow her. But I'm not gonna lie to you, man, moving from the Midwest to New York, what a culture shock. I couldn't start him in the South Bronx, you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't. That's not a starter borough, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's... Right? We don't start people in the Bronx. We end them. Don't shoot the messenger. Although we do, we shoot the messenger. Nobody getting messages. But we found a nice starter borough, Astoria, Queens, great starter borough, right? We moved there, man. I showed him all the artisan coffee shops. I was like, look, your people did that. We moved to this nice, quiet neighborhood, or so we thought. Till one day we were driving around and a fight broke out in the middle of the street. 2 grown men started beating the crap out of each other. And my sweet Midwestern husband was like, oh no. I I should do something. I was like, if you don't roll up your window right now, I'll fist fight you myself. I was like, what you gonna do, Captain America? You gonna fight 2 grown men? You have psoriatic arthritis, take a seat. I'll tell you what's about to happen. I'm about to watch you get jumped. That's what's about to happen. And I'm gonna watch, because I know how to mind my business. I already learned. This is your lesson, baby, not mine. It wasn't like that when we first got to the neighborhood. When we first got to the neighborhood, the hottest beef on the block were 2 businesses that were at war with each other. It was a health food store and a bagel shop. And the health food store started selling bagels. That's what I said. Here's the thing, they could have sold their bagels in secret. That would have been the respectable thing to do. But they put out a sign. Right, and the sign said, we sell organic bagels. So the bagel shop put out a sign. And their sign said, there's no such thing as organic bagels. I saw that, I was like, the block is hot! It's hot in these streets. My favorite thing is like, people still, no matter how crazy it is in New York, people still want to come to New York. They still want to come. People dream of coming to New York. They always tell me it's my dream of going to New York City. And we know why. New Yorkers, we know why. You want something crazy to happen. You want to see something wild. You want your weird New York story. I always tell them, come. It'll happen. We aim to please. The homeless will always provide. I'm sorry, the unhoused. Cupcake? Cupcake? I don't know. I realized that that's our PC term now, is unhoused. And look, I was an English major in college. I'm down to play with language. Let's do this. But we can talk about unhoused, can't we? It's goofy. I'll tell you why. Number one, that's the same word. You can't convince me otherwise. I have a thesaurus. You ain't gonna lie to me. And 2, it sounds worse. Right? Homelessness sounds like a situation that could not have been prevented. Unhoused sounds like somebody just rolled up on them and was like, I'll be taking this. And no more house for you. The second I heard it, I was like, what an elitist, privileged way of describing a situation, right? Right, you can hear it right away. Did you hear about Janice? She was recently unhoused. That's the kind of word that is only used to make the speaker of said word feel better about acknowledging a situation they know nothing about. It just makes them uncomfortable to acknowledge it, so they created a word as a buffer, but there's no progress in that word. There is no help in that word. And if you've ever lived in that situation, then there are a bunch of words you would have used instead of that word. Like, I was shocked. I was like, nobody thought of nomad? That's my first choice. Can you imagine you roll up on a homeless person? What up, my nomadic brother? Way to stay off the grid, man. I, too, am anti-establishment. Some of the words, honestly, some of the changes, I'm okay with. You know what I mean? Some of the changes I think are pretty brilliant. I know a lot of people are upset with all the PC language, but I find it kind of entertaining. Like, did you know on social media now, they're calling smoking weed gardening? I love it. Oh, it makes me sound so much more productive. I've been gardening all day. Gardening helps me deal with people. You know, it doesn't matter how crazy New York gets, it's still a vibe. It's still a city that has its energy. Man, when you think about it, even when COVID hit, we were the epicenter. Even COVID came through like, New York is lit. COVID was like, if I can make it here, I can make it anywhere. Lived its best life. I remember when they released us, from COVID captivity. We got rid of that 6 feet of personal space day one. Day one, it was gone, man. We couldn't wait. I know, because I got on the subway, and within 2 seconds, I had a guy this close. Right in my face like that. I was like, sir, we're the only 2 people on this train. I feel like there's a lot of options you're not taking. But where you trying to go? I thought he was lost for like a second. Maybe he thought I was the map.
So there's a store here in Los Angeles called The Pleasure Chest. It's up on Santa Monica Boulevard in West Hollywood, and it's a lovely little place. It's an adult novelty store, a dildorium, if you will. And they have a comedy night there because, of course, they do. And they called me up and they said, do you want to do the show? And I go, sure, yeah, I'll come down. I'd love to. And I did, yeah. Now, the first thing that strikes me when I went into the Pleasure Chest was the toys don't look like what you would think they would look like. They're not anatomical at all. They used to be. Now they're just like bright orange curlicues and lime green twisty shapes. It looked like replacement limbs for an all-Muppet Veterans Hospital. My question is, who shops at that store? Doesn't everybody have the internet? I mean, again, it could be me. I'm from a very repressed upbringing, but I honestly could not just walk in that store like, with a list. Oh, yeah. Hey, are these gluten-free? You know? They're anal beads. I don't know. Which are a thing. Anal beads are a thing that we, as a people, design, mass produce, market, and sell. The American experiment is not over. There is still life in the old girl yet. Look at the competition. Russia. Ha! Russia's not even a country. It's a gas station with an army. Russia only does 2 things. It supplies the Eastern Bloc with the raw material for fossil fuels and occasionally chooses the American president. But that's all Russia does. What does China really do? It steals our intellectual property and sells it back to us at a vastly inflated price. And occasionally allows, assholes like me to have a family. But here in America, we innovate. We put a man on the moon. We invented the computer chip. We have anal beads. Specially made beads. Just for your anal. We didn't steal the idea from another country and sell it back at an inflated price. An American shot out of bed in the middle of the night and thought, golly, I wish there was a necklace so big it felt great being yanked out of my asshole. Nobody touched this equation. 3 a.m, Matt Damon comes in. There are 2 jobs in America with debilitating levels of stress. Air traffic controller and the person that ties the knot on that last bead. Because what you really don't want, go. Don't panic. I made chili.
You guys, listen, I'm so excited because this comedy special is about 23 years in the making, okay? Yeah, I'll tell you what I mean by that. 23 years ago is when I first came to the Comedy Store and became a regular and became a comedian and disappointed my Iranian immigrant parents. Because they didn't want this shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, who else has immigrant parents here? Who has got immigrant parents? There we go, of course. Like, you, what's your background? What's your background? You, yes? Egypt. And what do you do? Executive director. You see what I'm saying? That's something to be proud about, okay? Her parents were proud of being executive director. I don't even know what she directs, but I don't know, but good for you. Who else had immigrant parents? There you go. What were your immigrant parents? Also Egyptian. Oh shit! Clearly it's Egyptian night at the Comedy Store. And you're Egyptian as well? You look like an Egyptian me. Look at you. You bald, beautiful man. Look at you. Look at this. What a good-looking Egyptian man over there. What's your name, Egyptian man? Mina, there you go. Oh yeah, Mina, how are you, Mina? What do you do again? What do you do? Engineer. You see, I'm not even his parent, I'm proud of him. That's what they want, Mina. Not comedian. Mina, 23 years ago, I came to the Comedy Store. A lot of people don't know how you become a regular at the Comedy Store. The way it used to work, Mitzi Shore, who's the owner of the Comedy Store, she started the Comedy Store. She's now since passed away, but she was with us, and she started this club 50 years ago. Give it up for Mitzi Shore, first of all. Now, Mina, the way you would become a regular at the Comedy Store, you used to have to go perform in front of Mitzi in the original room. There's a room next door to here. And you do 3 minutes in front of her. And if she liked you, she would get word back to you that she wants to see you do 6 minutes. She wouldn't tell you herself. It was like mafia shit, okay? I swear to God, you do your 3, and if they liked you, somebody in the hallway would be like, all right, come back for 6. You'd be like, all right, I'll see you later. And if they liked the 6, they go, come back for 10. And then once you do the 10, she would sit in the back seat by the exit sign and she would watch you. And as you're walking off stage, if she liked you, she would let you know and she would make you a regular. Now for me, this club, all the legendary comedians had gone through it. Richard Pryor, Robin Williams, Jim Carrey, my hero Eddie Murphy. He'd been, oh my God. So I did my 3, I did my 6, I did my 10. Now I'm performing in front of Mitzi, of course, starting out. I'm talking about being Iranian. You know, she realizes I'm Middle Eastern. So I finish my set. I walk off the stage, and I'm walking past her. And the whole time, you want her to grab your arm. If she grabs your arm, that means you're going to be a regular. If she lets you walk through, it's like, fuck you, get out of here. Go be an engineer. No offense. No offense, Mina. Guys, it's about a 20-foot walk. It felt like 10 miles. I'm walking by. I'm like, Mitzi, please grab my arm. Please grab my arm. I want to be like Eddie Murphy. Grab my arm. As I'm walking by, her hand comes out, grabs my arm. I go, oh my God, it's happening. And then she pulls me close. She goes, you're very funny. I go, thank you, Mitzi. That's how she would talk. And then she goes, I'm going to make you a regular. I go, thank you, Mitzi. Then she goes, have you ever thought about wearing the outfit? I go, what outfit? She goes, you know the outfit, the hat and the gown. I go, hat and gown? She goes, you know the hat and the gown. I realized, oh shit, she wants me to wear a turban and a dishdasha on stage because I'm Middle Eastern. So I looked at her, I go, yeah, sure, that's a good idea, why not? I swear to God, I walked into the hallway. I go, what did I just agree to do? This is bullshit. And for 2 weeks, I was finding ways to get out of the outfit. And I thought she would forget because she was getting older then. I thought maybe she would forget. On Monday, the booker at the club, her name was Corey. She called me up. She goes, Maz, congratulations. Mitzi told me you're a regular. I go, yes, I am. And she goes, she also told me you're going to wear the outfit. I go, shit! I go, Corey, what happens if I don't wear the outfit? She goes, well, you're not going to get as many spots. I go, okay, all right. So then I had to figure out how to get through this. So then I realized Mr. Delshad, Jimmy Delshad, I remembered, I found out that there was this Iranian guy who had been making fun of the mullahs in Iran, you know, the turban, the leaders of Iran, and he would do it on Persian television. And so word had gotten back to their supporters, there was a guy making fun of them. So this guy was doing some kind of live performance in LA, and some of the supporters of the regime showed up. They threw a rock, and they hit him in an eye. They blinded him in one eye. Yeah, and when I heard that, I go, that's it. I called the club. I go, hey, listen, Corey, I've been looking for the outfit. I got my eyes on some turbans. But I just want you to know, I just found out that there was a guy who was wearing the outfit, and the supporters of the regime showed up, and they threw a rock and blinded him. So I could wear the outfit, but they might come to the club and go after me. And worse yet, they might blow up the club. And then Corey goes, let me call you back. She called me 5 minutes later. She goes, Mitzi said wear something comfortable. You'll be fine. I got out of wearing the outfit. And now I'm Miami Vice. Look at this.
So happy to be performing again. I'm happy to be traveling again. I went to Japan. If you've never been to Japan, you gotta go. Delicious food, beautiful sightseeing. A lot of Japanese people over there, but besides that, you gotta go, gotta catch them all. You got to. No, Japanese people are truly the kindest, most polite people I ever met in my entire life. Like, do you remember when you're little and you drew a drawing? Then your mom would be like, oh my God, you're amazing. You're like Picasso, my little Picasso, wow. That's how everyone in Japan treated me anytime I spoke Japanese. I learned how to say, where's the bathroom? So I said, sumimasen, toilet wa doko desu ka? Then they'll be like, wow. Your Japanese is so good. Are you from Japan? Wow. They made me feel so good. It was like my parents never got divorced. It was amazing. I studied Japanese as a kid, and I was so excited to finally get to use it. I was in front of this restaurant in Tokyo, and I was looking at the menu, and it looked like it said fish, but I wasn't sure, so I wanted to make sure. So this Asian gentleman walked by, and I stopped him. And in perfect Japanese, I said to him, excuse me, is this fish? I said, sumimasen, sore wa sakana desu ka? That's correct, just trust me. This guy stops, he looks at me in perfect English, he goes, I'm from Hong Kong, I don't speak Spanish. I was like, lo siento, amigo. The Japanese language is funny how it's structured compared to English. Like if I were to say in Japanese, I eat pizza, I would say, pizza o tabemasu. But if I were to say I don't eat pizza, I would say, pizza o tabemasen. So the whole language is basically, I eat pizza, not. I hate it. I never liked it. He thinks I hate it. It's a whole language based on how I thought it was cool to talk in 1992. I love hanging out with my mom. Not. I love homework. Not. You guys are a beautiful crowd. That's all. That's all. Change the subject. Very sexy crowd. Very sexy crowd. I was so excited to use my Japanese skills in Japan. I went to a ramen noodle restaurant in Kyoto. I went up to the ramen noodle chef guy in perfect Japanese. I said to him, please give me ramen noodles, no pork. I did it. I felt really good about myself. But then in Japanese, he was like, why no pork? And I was like, okay, I was not prepared to have an argument in Japanese. I didn't learn how to do this in my 4th grade after-school learning program. But I can do this, watch this. So then in perfect Japanese, I said to the Japanese ramen noodle chef guy, I said, I don't eat pork. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But then in Japanese, he was like, why? And I was like, good Lord. But okay, I got this, watch this. So then in perfect Japanese, I said to the Japanese ramen noodle chef guy, I said, I don't like pork. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But then in Japanese, he was like, but this is good. And I was like, oh my God, how do I say this in Japanese? I don't know how to say this. I was raised Jewish, so I have guilt issues associated with eating pork. It's not kosher. And I'd like to become a vegetarian one day. But adding animals to my diet is the opposite direction of where I'm trying to go with the animals I put in my mouth. So I said the last sentence I know to say in Japanese. I said, Buta o kudasai, which turns out means, please give me pork. And I ate pork for the first time in my entire life, for reals. And you know what? It was really good. It was amazing. Jewish people, we're wrong. I don't know who came up with this kosher don't eat pork nonsense. Probably some Gentiles trying to hog all the pork from the Jews. Hey Jacob, you don't eat those pork chops, you're gonna piss off God. I got you, no worries. It's my impression of a shady Gentile.